Okay, yeah, let's talk about just something I've been fascinated with since I was a kid. I think when James Cameron just blew my mind when I was a young kid watching Titanic in theaters. I've always been fascinated by that. I had a great grandmother that lived well into her nearly 100.
Wow.
And I remember her telling me about the Titanic when it happened, just the news headlines at the time. And well, this was a little bit before radio, but she was talking about just how even in Texas, they were all fascinated with the ship and with the passengers and the tragedy as it happened. And now it's kind of, it's developed a myth, I think, too, a mystique, but still has our attention so much.
Oh, it's just such an incredible case when you talk about all of the different people that were there, all of the things that maybe could have gone differently. There's just so much that you can discuss with this huge tragedy. And we have someone who can speak to it a lot better than we can here.
Set us straight on that.
Yes, Jessica Sanders, thanks for joining us.
Jessica, you're the exhibition host of Titanic, an immersive voyage in Scottsdale. Correct. So cool. Opens this week, correct?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
It opens tomorrow to the public tomorrow. So yes, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So this is a traveling exhibit.
Correct.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about what people can expect when they come and check this out. You see exhibits for the Titanic in certain places, but what makes this one special?
So Titanic, an immersive journey, is a new way to experience the Titanic story. So a guest will come in and they will see from the building of the ship all the way down, and using technology to immerse themselves with virtual reality to be able to explore the wreck site too. So it goes through the whole story of Titanic.
Yeah, and obviously that kind of virtual technology, things like that, not something that we've always been able to utilize to really immerse yourself in it. Can you give a couple of examples of what people might get to experience with that?
Oh, absolutely. So going through the exhibition, we've got full-scale reproductions of certain areas of the ship, and even a lifeboat. So you'll have an opportunity to sit within the lifeboat to get a sense of the size in an immersive environment. It's a very touching and very emotional scene.
One thing that always stands out to me, I'm a little bit of a history buff, or at least enthusiast. I don't know about expert, but I'm always fascinated with the story of the Titanic. I mean, just the name Titanic that they had, where this idea of invincibility and kind of humanity's hubris, if you will, that we can beat the elements in nature, ingenuity, technology. We just need to soldier through it, and we can do that. That still seems obviously to be something we're dealing with in 2026, but a lot of the parallels there with thinking that it's safe enough to take anywhere, that this latest technology could withstand the elements of nature, but clearly this was the worst disaster of its time.
Absolutely, and I think that those lessons are still very relevant today. So Titanic had on board the latest and greatest technology, the Marconi telegraph. But technology provides the information. It wasn't that the information was there. They received the warnings, but information is only as good as what you do with it. And so some of those messages never made it to the bridge, or they weren't prioritized. So, and the other part too is there's a misconception that people think that it was the iceberg that sank Titanic. And yes, it was the catalyst, but there were a series of failures that happened up until then. The regulations were outdated. There wasn't life preparedness training, and again, this communication issue. So a lot of what you see now, the regulations that you have in place, if you go on a cruise ship today and you do the drills, those directly come from the tragedy in Titanic.
When people come and experience this in that vein, what do you hope that they take away from it? Obviously, the immersive experience is going to be one thing, but what kind of lessons or attention do you want to draw people out to talk when they leave the experience?
So a lot of people come to the Titanic story through the movie. And the story of Titanic is bigger than a movie. It's bigger than any one person. And so what we would like for people to understand it's a human story. This is a story, yes, about a ship, but there were more than 2,000 passengers and crew on that ship, and each one represents a story. And so if you leave the exhibition and you learn a name of a passenger that maybe you didn't know before you went, then this exhibition will have served history well.
Love that.
Well, and one thing I think, in addition to, I mean, I could talk all day long with the social commentary of it, with you have the class structure on board the ship, which very endemic of that. But 1912 and the parallels with 2026, a lot of people say we're back in our own really gilded age of its own. But as you're getting to know each one of these stories and personalizing them, was there anything that just stood out to you that just totally shocked you, the humanity that you saw in these people?
Well, the thing about the Titanic story is that there's so many different elements, there's so many entry points to the story, whether it's the engineering, the post-Edwardian society, whether it was the wreck itself and decisions that people made in unprecedented chaos. One of the stories that struck me, and every time I learn a story, then I think it's the one, and then I learn another story. Annie Funk was a missionary, and she was safely on a lifeboat. And there was a woman that was there. Her children were already on the lifeboat. She gave up her seat.
Wow.
And perished. And, for me, it's a point of reflection. You say, when you encounter yourself in chaos and crisis, will you be your best self? Could I have made that decision? Could any of us? You don't know.
Right.
You can't possibly know. And there are 2,000 more stories just like that.
Oh.
We got about 30 seconds left. Jessica, okay. If you could tell folks it opens tomorrow in Scottsdale.
Absolutely.
How can they see this? So
you want to go to expo-titanic.com, and you can click either the Scottsdale or the Phoenix link. That will take you to the ticketing webpage. It opens tomorrow. The location is 4301. That's North Scottsdale Drive. It's at the corner of 5th and North.